These are 3 signs that you'll never be rich. Well, I know that's a disheartening news, but allow me just to share it. Well, where did I get this information? I was having a conversation with my mentor, and my mentor told me, hey, you know what, Joseph? That was a little bit back then. And he told me, hey, Joseph, you know what? I know you are, journey to getting something in your life and something like that. But let me tell you one secret. If you possess these 3 signs or these 3 qualities, then you have a problem. It's gonna be a very bumpy ride as far as your journey to your wealth is concerned. And I was being stressed, and I was like, I would like to know what are those 3 signs. And you know what? Why not share with you the signs that I was shared with me from my mentor and check out and see, hey, if you have them. And by the way, the good thing is with these signs is that if you have them, it's not like a permanent disease. You can actually improve yourself and change and be able to become an individual. So it's like I'm sharing 2 videos at the same time. So if you possess these signs in one way or the other, then I'm going to share with you how you can actually snatch yourself out of that cocoon that you might be in. This is Good Joseph, as always. I make videos as far as the investments are concerned. And you've been watching me and you have not subscribed, come on, go ahead and hit that subscription button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your eyeballs. And if you're a new subscriber, or rather new viewer, hey, thank you for choosing Good Joseph. Let's get on the business now. The first sign that denotes that it will be very hard for you to become wealthy in future is that you who is watching me, you are always a teacher or the teacher. You are always the. Actually, let me use the definite article, the. You are always the teacher. Let me explain. Have you ever gone to any conversation and then you realize there is an individual somewhere? They talk more than they listen. Have you ever met somebody, they are talking about something, but they are wrong, and you know the thing that they are talking that they are wrong, and then this individual, you try to tell them, hey, it is not like this, it's like this. But before you even explain, for them to know that they didn't, to know what they didn't know, they never listen. They always bombard you with conversation. They talk much more than they listen. You're always the teacher. I remember there was somewhere I was seated. You know, for those who've been watching FIFA for quite a long time, one day I used to be a painter, literally painting this construction industry and what have you. And I'm sorry to say what I'm about to say. Unfortunately, most of the people in the construction industry, especially doing the manual work, you find most of them, they don't have that exposure in terms of tertiary education. Some of them don't even have the high school education. And statistically speaking, and then we were seated somewhere during the lunch hour. And you know one thing, I have a degree in medical field. And then we were discussing something. And then these guys, they had an argument about something that I knew very well. I spent years and years in university studying it. And definitely I knew these guys are wrong on this. And I tried to squeeze the sense into them like, hey, it's not like that. It's actually like this. And then the moment I said something, and they asked me, how did you know? I told them, hey, I have a degree on this and this. Apparently one guy from them knew that I'm a graduate. So the guy didn't talk, but the rest, they were just talking. And they were just telling me some myths and misconceptions about some things to do with health. I don't want to mention those things. And then I was just telling them, no, it's like this, no. So you find this person is very hard to be taught. You're always a teacher. You go somewhere, you just talk a lot, you talk a lot. And this sign is usually mostly with older people. And for the older people, it's not because of their will. It is because, the advance in age comes with, they tend to say, hey, you know what, I have a lot of experience. Sometimes I usually have clients who are older. And then when you're having a discussion, you find they rarely listen. They tend to tell you more than you are telling them. You go to a session to teach them about these treasury bills and treasury bonds, but they are telling you more about what happened in the government in 1982 and whatever. Like, they're telling you irrelevant things, but you understand them. But there are people who are young, but they never listen. So one science that tells you it has become very hard for you to become wealthy in future is that you're always the teacher in a conversation. For me, usually, I have this, how can I say it? I have this, I don't know that I should say ability or this kind of a thing in me. The moment I meet new people who have never seen them, I usually know. But just of me listening to them in less few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, I can tell, not even 5 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, I can tell this, and this conversation, I am the student. This conversation, I am the teacher. Am I going to learn something from this guy, or am I going to teach something to this guy. So the thing is, if you are this kind of an individual, you are rarely the student. You are only the teacher. You know, we are seated down here, I'm explaining about money market fund. Before you even listen to the end of the video, that's a scam, it's not reliable, I don't believe in this government, it can't work. That kind of a thing actually goes with the second point, but I'm coming to that point. Let me stress on this. When you become mostly, you are the teacher all the times, it becomes very hard for you to be taught. You can't learn, you can't advance, you always remain to the comfort zone. Or have you ever been in a meeting where an expert is talking about something, and then there is a guy somewhere, and they love to sit in front, and then this guy is asking irrelevant questions, a question that if they can just simply sit down and think, they can get the answer. And then this guy is actually deterring you from asking the question that really makes sense. Or you find the questions, you find that somebody is asking you, are you married? How many kids do you have? Amazing. Wow, where do you come from? Oh, but have you ever been to, you find me like, come on, we've paid for this session. Come on. We need to ask serious questions this guy. But this guy is just asking things that are making them happy rather than learning. I hope I've explained that point correctly. So if you find yourself that you're always the teacher, or rather, you're always the teacher, not a student, then it becomes very hard for you to actually become wealthy. Because the process of becoming wealthy requires you to listen more, be humble, listen, learn, learn, learn. Apparently, the more you learn, the more you earn. The second point, you are proud and arrogant. Proud and arrogant. What do I mean by that? When you are proud and arrogant, kind of marries the first point. And what do I mean? You cannot be taught. You believe you know everything. You don't believe that you can be taught. There's somebody who told me, somebody got into my inbox and told me, hey, Joseph, would you like, I have this and this amount of money. Would you like to, would you mind to show me on how I can invest? And I said, okay, sure, that's a good point. That's what I do. So I can be able to take you through this and this and this and that. And these are my services. And this is how I offer my services. These are my charges and what have you. What? No, I thought you're giving this for free. And I was like, oh my goodness. Yes, I am on my social medias. If you go to YouTube, nobody's gonna charge you to watch me. If you go to on TikTok, you get what I'm saying. But then if you need a premium service, this is the package. The guy does not believe in paying somebody to actually learn something as far as the investment is concerned. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't believe in that. He just want to get anything and everything free. Number two, that is a version number one of an individual. We have other people, we find that this individual is how can I say it? Is an individual who, how can I frame this? You can't teach them. You can't teach them. They're so arrogant. They believe that nobody can tell me what to do with my money. It's my money. It's true, it's your money. It's true, it's your money. But they say, like, I don't want to be taught about anything. Just leave it out. No, I don't want, no. You find what I'm saying? And these people, they tend not to be explorative. Actually, that should be another point. People who are not explorative, because you have to be very curious. Because the curiosity brings some aspects of risks. You know, for you to be curious about something, you have to go beyond the normality, the comfort, to explore the other side. And of course, that comes with what we call curiosity. You have to be curious. You have to have this ability of liking or wanting to know more than what you do. And then if you possess that particular signs of being pride and arrogant, you can never be taught. And let me tell you one secret. Even the Bible itself confirms that God hates pride. You should, by the way, let me tell you one thing. The substitute to this is actually humble or humility. Humility is that, virtue that you need deep inside of yourself so that at least you can accumulate wealth. I know you're about to tell me, but Joseph, wealthy people are not humble. Truly, we have some people who are not humble and they have money. But be careful. People tend to confuse what we call standards and arrogance or pride. There is a very thin line between that. If you call somebody and ask them, hey, would you mind to lend me 10,000? And they tell you no. They're not pride. They're not proud, rather. They're simply specific and to the point, and that is their standards. For example, if you invite somebody and you tell them, hey, would you mind if you can just go out maybe on Saturday and grab some few drinks? And somebody tells you, thank you, but I don't drink, so I may not be able to come. And he finishes there. That is a standard. I remember there was a time I told some of quote unquote friends, I don't drink, so I may not be able to show up to that particular party if it's all about drinking. And the guy said, oh, you're very proud, you're very whatever. It's my standard. I can't do that. Number three, when it comes to time, I'm very strict. I remember there was a time, not even one time, several, by then I've created a lot of enemies because of time. Even if you are my friend, for me, I don't care. As much as you're not good at time management, we're going to rub shoulders. You know, we agree, hey, let's meet in town at exactly 8 a.m. I showed up there at 7:50. I wait for 10 minutes. I wait for another 5 minutes. You don't show up. I tell you, hey, you know what? I was at the meeting point as agreed at around this particular time for this meeting. Then you didn't show up. Then I left. Be like, oh, just hang around. We're just on the way. No, I left. No, come on. You can't be serious. Now I left. It's my standard. Most people can tend to think that is being arrogant. It's not arrogant. It's not even being proud. That is you. You don't work that way. You get what I'm saying? So it's good to be, at the same time, also good to differentiate between somebody who is arrogant, pride, and also somebody who has standards out there. So arrogant, if you're proud and you're arrogant, it becomes very, 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 very hard for you to achieve that. Number three, we have these individuals who are mismanagers. Mismanagement. Remember this and never forget this. Let it be at your fingertips at all the time. God stops growth where there is no management. Are we together? So that means that you must possess the ability to manage. You must have the ability to know what, you know what, I'm earning this goes to this does this, you know what, this is my fixed expenses, these are my, guilt-free expenditure, this is the amount of money goes this, that. I prioritize, this is a must-have, I have to achieve the must-have first, the good to have follows, the nice to have to follows. Then for me to buy this one, I need to buy this one. With just because I have X amount of money does not mean I qualify to buy Y thing. So you have to have the ability to manage. If you cannot be entrusted with 10,000, how can you assure us that you can be entrusted with 100,000? This is all what we call the financial literacy. Having the literate or the literacy, you must have the literacy about the finances. You have to understand. Most of the people tend to think like they know how money works. They don't. You have to understand how the money works, the game of the money. There were some things I was reading, but although that one is too deep, if you start sharing here, it will appear as if it's a Greek. One day, probably I'll try and make that video as far as the money is concerned, and fluidity and all those kind of things, because most people don't understand how these things work. And that is where they get the problem as far as the growth is concerned. This is Good Joseph. Don't forget to always hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe and leave a comment on the comment section. So now, if you possess these three signs, it becomes very, very hard for you to actually create wealth. Because wealth creation, you have to have some certain characters. You have to have some certain behaviors, some certain attraction deep inside of you for you to actually do this. Because in wealth, we attract money, and you must be attractive to that. This is Good Joseph. Don't forget to like the button. Also like the video. See you in the next one.